Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs. Today I'm going to show you how to make a drinks mat, a placemat, a coaster, and we're going to be doing it in the colours of a target. Somebody had requested it and I thought it was a really good idea, so this is what we're going to be doing. It's going to be a hook only design, but we are going to use the loom to make the magic ring, and the colours we're going to need are yellow, red, blue, black and white. I'm using a stitch marker, which is this little contraption here. If you don't have one of those, you can use a paper clip, you can use a safety pin, it really doesn't matter. You can use a different coloured band and do two bands, one the right colour and one a wrong colour, and snip that off if that's what you need to do. But it does help to have a stitch marker of sorts. It's a hook only design, as I said. We're going to be single banding. We're going to start yellow. You take a single yellow band and we're going to place it on the peg like that. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take that band and stretch it out and do a figure 8 and loop it back on itself, and still keep your finger there because we're going to do that one more time so that it's been looped around those two pegs 3 times like that. Now we're going to count out 6 bands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And pushing your hook through the center here, you're going to grab one band and pull it through, reclaim it, and take this one closest to you up and over into a slip knot, but you're not going to make it tight. You're going to go back through that space and grab your next band. And you're going to do the same with that one. You're going to take the first bit, the closest to you, over the top of it to make a slip knot. And then to join these together, you'll take the one closest to you and lift that over, and then you'll go back again for the third band, and we're going to keep doing this till we've used all 6 of our bands. Okay, and you might need to budge this around on your loom to make room. One, and push that one over, make a bit more room. And our last one. And then keeping this on your hook, you're going to take this little bit off, and as you can see it almost looks like we have a semicircle. And what we're going to do is stretch these out so that they are evenly spaced around that little circle, and then it will look like that, almost like the centre of a flower. Now these are our little loops, our teardrops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the one on our hook is 6. So we're going to push our hook through the first one, and we're going to do 2 stitches, 2 single crochets in each of these stitches. So our first one is going to be a single band that you pull through and you reclaim. Okay, you're going to take this side of the band up and over into a slip knot that you're not pulling tight, and then pull that one over. And let's do another one, our second one in that same spot. You're going back through that same stitch and pulling the second band through, and again this one goes over the top of your hook, and then join those two like that. Now this is where I'm putting my stitch marker, right here, because that was where we first started. As I said, you can do a paper clip like that. You don't have to use one that's quite as big, but or you can use a safety pin. Let's go to the second stitch now. Here it is, and again we're going to take our first rubber band and do a slip knot and join, and then our second, which is our increase, and slip knot and join. Move to the third stitch, and you're making sure you've got both those loops on. Go through, slip knot and join. Let's go back through that same spot for our second stitch, our second single crochet in that stitch. Now we'll move to the fourth. Here's our first rubber band, and back through that same stitch for our second. and then our 5th stitch, we're doing 2 in here as well. Here's our first one, back through that same spot. Here's our second, and then our 6th stitch. This is our last one. Here's our first single crochet, back through that same spot. Here is our second single crochet. Now we're going to go, if you take your stitch marker out, because you know that you're at the beginning now, this first stitch here is where you're going to push your hook through, but instead of using yellow now, we're going to swap to our next colour, and we're doing 2 rounds with red. So take a single red band, pull it through like that, do your stitch, and this red is where we're going to put our stitch marker, like that. Now for this round we're going to do a single crochet in the first stitch like we've just done, and then in the second stitch we're doing our increase. The increase is where you do a single crochet and then a single crochet right next to it in that same spot. So you have 2 stitches. So you have the first one has 1 stitch, 1 single crochet. The second stitch has 2 single crochets in it. That's the increase. The third stitch, you're going back to a single crochet, and then this 4th stitch we'll do 2 single crochets because that's our increase. There's our first one, go back through. Here's our second one. We'll do 1 in this one, and then 2 in this one, and then 1 in this one, two in the following one. So there's our first one, go back through. Here's our second, we'll do 1, and then 2, one, and this next one is our last one. We've got 2 to do in here. There's our first one and our second one. Again, this stitch here is where we started, so we put our hook through those 2 loops, take your stitch marker out, and we're still doing red. This time we're going to go around and do 2 single crochets and an increase. So we'll start with our first single crochet, and we'll put our stitch marker on it so that we know this was the beginning. I would really recommend buying some of these, they're excellent and they're very cheap. So that was our first single crochet. The next one is our second single crochet in the next stitch, and then we do an increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So there's 1, and back through that same stitch, 2, and we do a single crochet in this one, and a single crochet in the next one, and then 2 single crochets in this one, 1 and 2, single crochet, single crochet, and 2. back through that same stitch, single crochet. Now these will make great presents for single crochet fathers, sons, uncles, grandpas that are hunters. And we do our 2 single crochets in this one. Single crochet, single crochet, and 2 in this one. I thought they could also be made a little bigger and used as trivets in the kitchen to put hot dishes straight out of the oven on and stuff, but then I was thinking about it. You could only really do it if it was the silicone bands, because I think the rubber bands would deteriorate and it would really warp them and be bad. So I wouldn't be putting anything hot, you know, from the oven on something like this unless you were using the silicone bands. So we just did 2 in that one, so we're single here. But I think a hot cup of tea or a hot mug of coffee, that would be fine. 2 and 2 in this one. So, whoopsie. Now, it doesn't matter if these come undone, look at that, right? They're all in little slip knots. So you just pick them up and continue on your way. No huge drama. So let's see where we were at. We did 2 in that one. 1, 1. I've lost count with what I was doing. 2 in that one. 1 and 1. So it's 2 in this one. There we go. Too busy yakking to you, wasn't I? So 2 in this one. And then we're back at the first one again here. So let's put our hook through, take our marker out. Now our next colour is blue. So let's swap to the blue bands. And we will do 2 rounds in blue. Let's take our first blue band and we will put our marker on this one, just like that. And for our first round of blue, we're again doing a single crochet, and an increase. So that was our first single, our second single, and an increase in this one, which means 2 singles. So here's 1 and back through that same spot for number 2, and we'll do 1 and 1 and 2 in here. Single and another single, and then 2 in this one, back through that same spot, 1 and 1, and 2 in this one, we do 1 and 1. More bands, 2 in this one, 1 oops 1, 2 2 in this one. 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 2. 1. 1, and we will finish on 2. Push your hook through those 2 first blue bands, take out your marker. We're still doing blue, so take another blue, and we'll do our first one for the next round and put our marker in. Now for this round, what we're going to do is a single crochet all the way around, no increases. So we skip this one because we've already got that one in there. Single crochet all the way around, which is just 1 in each. Now if you find in any of my videos that I'm going too fast for you, please remember you can pause me, but there is also the ability in your settings option of your video to slow down the video, and that might help as well. A few more bands. Through both of those loops, there we go. And this is our last one, so push your hook through that first stitch there, take out the stitch marker. Now we're moving to black bands. We're nearly at the end. take our first black band, slide it through and put our stitch marker on it to keep things safe. Now for this one we're actually going to do our first round around is going to be 3 single crochets and then an increase. So that's our first one. Second one, third one, and now we do an increase, which is 2 in that same stitch. So 1 and 2. Do the same again. 3. So this is number 1. 2. 3, and then an increase in this one. There's 1, and there's the second. So you have 2 stitches in that one. Let's count another 3 singles. Oopsie. 1, 2, 3, and I'll do a double in here, or not a double, our 2 single crochets. That was our first one, and there's our second one. Count another 3, 1, 2, 3, and 2 in this one. One, 2, 3, and we'll do 2 here. One, 2, 3, and this is our 2 single crochets in the same stitch for our increase. 1, 2, 3, and our increase. One, 2, 3, and this last one is going to be our increase. Okay, here's our first stitch. Poke your hook through, take your stitch marker off. We're doing another round of black, so take your first black and pull that through, and we put our stitch marker on it like that. For this particular round we're doing exactly the same as our last round. 3 single crochets and an increase. That was number 1. Two, three, and increase. One. Now obviously you don't have to do these colours, you can do whatever colours you like. 2, 3, and an increase. I thought a rainbow colour would be very, very nice. There's our increase. Let's count 3. 1, 2, 3, and here's our increase. See, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and this is our increase. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, back through the same hole for our increase. 1, 2, 3, and back through the same hole for the increase, both loops. 1, 2, 3, and this for an increase. 1, 2, 3, 3, and this last one is our increase. So there's our first one, and here's our second one. Now, if you were doing a smaller drinks coaster, this would actually be a great size for one, and it's better this side up. This is a great size for one, and I actually did one as a watermelon, just like this, and it's the same size and it works beautifully. So if you're doing a watermelon, you sort of do pink and then a layer of white and a round of green, and then you just put these little bands in here. So that's an option, and you can do obviously any kind you like at all. But for the target, it actually finishes with 2 rounds of white. So we need to now move to white for our last 2 rounds. Take your first white band, push your hook through that first loop, take out your stitch marker, grab that first white band, pull it through, and let's put our stitch marker on it like that, and we are then ready to do our first round, which is going to be a single crochet all the way around, just one stitch, one single crochet in each stitch. I'm sorry, I'm not my normal chatty self. I've been a bit under the weather lately, and I have a horrible sore throat and whatnot, so for once I'm keeping chit-chat down to the limit. and our last one here for this round. Now poke your hook through that first one, that first set of loops, take your stitch marker out. We're still a round of white for the next one, so let's loop that through and put our stitch marker in, and this is going to be our final round. She's nearly there, look at that, it's getting there. We're going to do 2 single crochets and then an increase. So this is our first single crochet. We'll do a second single crochet, and then in this one we do our increase, which is 2 single crochets in the same stitch. There's our first one, back through that same stitch. There's our second one, and then 2 single crochets in each of the next 2 stitches. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and then in this stitch we do 2 together for the increase. 1 and back through that same spot, 2, and then single, single, increase, single, single, increase, single, single, increase, single, single, increase, a single, another single, and increase, single, single. I'm doing this all the way around, increase. That's 2 in the same stitch. Single, single, increase, See? So let's check. There's an increase there. As you can see the 2 stitches. There's the first one, there's the second. So this is our single, and our last one is going to be a single. Now I'm taking this little marker out, and we're going to go through that spot where the marker was, take a single band, drag it through. Now we're not going to just do a single crochet by attaching it here. We're going to include our little loop that was on our hook, and then reclaim, and then do a slip knot to tie off, and make sure that's nice and tight. But there, and this way, this side is better than the other side, I feel. The side where you can see like the little V, I think is less pretty than this side. You are going to have where the joins happen, that's going to happen. There's not much you can do about that because we've gone around in a spiral. But for the most part, I mean, yes, you can see one there, and you can see one there, and you've got this one here. For the most part, you don't really notice it. But there we have a drink mat, and what you can do, hide your tie-off band. I tend to go on the back side where you have those little V-loops. I go through those and making sure that I'm just going through the top part of it, so that you can't see it on the other side. Let me turn over, see? And then I just drag that tie-off band through those loops and hide it like that. I'm going to zoom out so you can see. There we have it. If you find that it's got a few sort of ruffles in it, or it's not exactly flat, that will actually, it flattens over time as the bands relax. It will flatten over time. Again, as I mentioned, if they're rubber bands, not silicone, I wouldn't be too keen on exposing them to too much heat. I think a mug would be fine, but you wouldn't want to put something hot from the oven. Anyway, I really hope you enjoy making. As you can see, I have quite a few now. Trying to perfect this little pattern. It's a little bit different when you do it with a bands instead of crochet yarn. Good luck with it. I hope you have fun. Take care. Bye bye.